Hey there, long time no see. I'm Ronnie with MeloDrama's Revenge, and welcome to today's video. A little over 3 years ago, at the age of 16, I made a video breaking down the past of YandereDev, a problematic game developer who made a game called Yandere Simulator, a sandbox game where you play as a high school girl named Ayano Aishi, or Yandere-chan as she's known by the fandom, who has a crush on an upperclassman named Senpai. In order to win his affection, you are tasked with either murdering or disposing of 10 rivals over the course of 10 weeks. Both the game and its developer have controversial pasts in regards to the sexualization of high school girls, the fetishization of Asian culture, and the developer's unsavory behavior to fans and critics alike. After releasing that video on that now inactive channel, I received several comments and messages, including from mutuals, saying that I was reaching because in the video I had mentioned that not only do I believe he's a creep, but if he's not a pedophile, he's at least pedophilic adjacent, if you know what I mean. And I was told, oh, you're reaching, you're being dramatic, you have no proof. And guess what? I was right. Who would have thought? And I'm not going to sit here and get on my soapbox and pretend that I was the only one who had an inkling that YandereDev was a bit of a creep. It was kind of an open secret, both in and outside of the fandom. But with the new information that has surfaced recently, we are learning the extent of just how much of a fucking weirdo this guy was. Content warning for grooming, pedophilia, and sexual violence. If these topics make you uncomfortable, please watch another video, take some time for yourself, and stay safe out there. I love you all, and let's get into it. For the sake of anonymity, we will be referring to the victim as Jane. Jane had been in contact with Alex since she was 9 years old, but it wasn't until recent months that they began speaking more consistently. They spoke through messages for 2 months before finally starting to do voice calls with one another, and in the very first voice call, she informed him that she was in fact 16. Now, as the adult in this situation, this should have been the point where he pulled the plug on communications immediately. For context, YandereDev, who I will be referring to as Alex from here on out, is 35. He is a 35-year-old man with millions of followers, and she is a 16-year-old girl who is a fan of his and is 19 years his junior. There is no reason to continue such one-on-one intimate conversations with a minor as soon as you were made aware of her age. Like, I'm 19 years old. I'm gonna be 20 in November, a month from now, and talking to a 16-year-old that I didn't know before I turned 18, that I don't know from high school or anything like that, it still feels a bit icky, even for me. So I don't understand how you can be 35 and be like, oh, 16-year-old, damn near 20 years my junior. Yeah, this is an okay thing to do. But I digress. Jane began recording their conversations and eventually shared them with her friends, who helped her realize that what she had with Alex was not only inappropriate, but potentially illegal. After some thought, she realized that they were right and that the relationship she had with Alex was entirely messed up, and that there could be other young fans that he has these inappropriate relationships with. She came into contact with a YouTuber named Ali McC, who began compiling evidence and testimony from Jane, including a 4-hour interview dissecting the nature of her relationship with Alex. However, a friend of Jane, known as Bug, posted a TikTok with some of the audio Jane had recorded from her conversations with Alex, teasing Ali's upcoming expose, and Alex quickly caught wind of the video. He manipulated Jane into retracting her statement, which I will show the screenshots of in a bit, and even went as far as to make a fake Reddit account posing as the victim to say that the situation had gotten out of control, that Alex didn't really do anything that bad, and that Ali was posting the video without her consent. If you watch Ali's video, link in the description below, she admits herself that at the time of recording, Jane had withdrawn her consent to having the video published, but that as a survivor herself, she felt this was so much bigger than Jane because other victims of Alex, who were unable to gather evidence themselves, wanted the video published, and that Alex needs to be deplatformed in order to prevent further harm. She went out of her way to edit Jane's voice and other content concerning her to conceal her identity to the best of her ability. But according to @Decepticami on TikTok, who has been in contact with Jane, Jane has now officially cut ties with Alex and retracts her retraction.
YandereDev's victim has finally spoken out, and she has given me full permission to amplify her message. First and foremost, she wants everyone to know that she has been secretly supportive of everything that Ali, Bug, and I have been doing in public. She felt the need to hide this support because she felt threatened by Alex. Behind the scenes, not only was Alex having Jane help him field questions and write apologies for him, but he was also getting her to retract statements with threats of legal action so that he could dodge accountability for what he had done. But the good news is that Jane has cut ties officially with Alex. We want to thank everybody for their concern and filing police reports on Jane's behalf. However, Bug, Allie, and I do have it handled behind the scenes, so there's no need for anybody else to be making these reports. They're just starting to clog up the report system. But the most important thing is that Jane is currently safe. The only reason she made those statements against Allie was because of fear. But now we just need help amplifying her message so that as many people as possible can hear it.
You're gonna see later on that, like, in his apology, he takes the angle of like, well, I didn't know any better. Like, she just said these things out of nowhere and I never really engaged with it. I just didn't stop her. Yeah, okay, you're gonna see that that does not track with the evidence, Your Honor. So let's continue.
No, I don't go out. I just stay inside and work on the game.
You should turn your phone.
Oh, you'll see how old I am.
Okay, look.
You're cute.
Yeah, you're fucking, you should. I don't know if you too.
I don't feel good about it.
Okay.
Oh, you're sweet.
I have a question for you.
What's the question?
I want you to like fall off guard or anything.
Go ahead.
Do you fuck other girls when you...
No.
Okay.
Wouldn't it make me a bad guy if I did?
It would make me, an upset person if you did.
You'd be upset?
And then it was just like, not like in a serious way, just like, you know, oh.
Am I a bad guy for talking to you? Should I stop talking to you?
No, you should stop talking. Well, I mean, like, you should, but please don't. Just, like, you know, pause. I like your company.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Do you think you can call like this more often?
Maybe. I had fun. You're funny. It's fun to listen to talk.
Why from the high next time? I just make it.
I would also be very interested in interacting with you if you are regular. I want to learn what regular you is like. But high you is very cute and fun.
My hands were fuzzy.
Yeah, you do that a lot when you're high.
I do a lot when I'm sober too.
You're so cute.
You're saying that.
It's because you keep being cute. If you don't want to be called cute, then stop being so cute. It's simple logic. And I thought it was just normal.
That's not normal size.
Oh.
No, I think average size, one of those in the US is like 5.5.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know how to respond like that. I don't know what to say about it. I don't have one, so I'm not like a penis expert.
Now, I am not a wise man, far from it. I am the silliest goblin clown in my area. However, please inform me of what timeline in any universe is it okay for a man in his mid-30s to be discussing penis size with a 16-year-old girl? Like, in what context is that ever appropriate? You are, again, nearly 2 decades her senior. And she is 16, dog. Even if she was the one who brought it up, you should have immediately shut that shit down. Like, been like, nope, I'm not talking about that with you, no. Or, crazy idea, don't have one-on-one voice chats with minors to begin with. But Jesus, discussing penis size? The only context where someone in their mid-30s talking to someone under the age of 18 about penis size is acceptable is in a sex ed class in high school. Like if the teacher's teaching about it, you know, like, oh, this is the average size, this is how it works, blah, blah, blah. That is the only context I can think of. And even then, that's like in a group setting, you know, like teaching a class of like fucking sophomores about sex ed. Like that is the only context where this could even be remotely okay. But 1v1 Discord calls with a 35-year-old and a 16-year-old discussing penis size, that is not acceptable. Sorry. Not sorry, actually.
There's this one really important thing to remember, and that's that all the money I get is donations from people who want to support me. And if I start working less, then they will think, oh, he's not working, he's lazy, I should not support this guy.
And they'd be absolutely correct. Like, dude, you're not making the next GTA game. This game has been in development since 2014. You know how old I was in 2014? I was like 10 or 11 years old. I'm about to be 20 next month. That is insane. And there's still only 1 out of the 10 rivals in the game. Is it gonna take another decade for the second rival to show up? And it's just gonna take 100 years? Like, at that point, just give up. Give up. Or hand off development to someone who actually knows what they're doing if you really want the game to get done, instead of just leaving it to die, if you're that passionate about it. Cause like 9 years, and this is how much you've gotten into the game, like, maybe this isn't your forte, my dude.
Why can't you start OnlyFans?
Okay, let's just hypothetically imagine I have an OnlyFans. Now, what do I post on the OnlyFans? You mean like just naked pictures of me? I don't think I'm good looking enough for anyone to want to subscribe to my OnlyFans.
What? Like,
When you turn 18, are you gonna start an OnlyFans?
God, no.
Well, how can you recommend that someone else do it if you wouldn't even be able to do it yourself?
OnlyFans, again, another subject that a 35-year-old man should not be talking to an underage girl about. I remember in my senior year statistic class in high school, we were talking about, I don't even know what we were talking about, we were just talking with our statistics teacher, and the subject of OnlyFans came up. I think someone was talking about how a former student at the school was now doing OnlyFans, and the teacher immediately got very uncomfortable at the subject and was like, hey guys, let's not talk about these things. I don't want to talk about these things with you. That's not appropriate. That is the response. That is the appropriate, that is what you do as the adult in that scenario. Like that is not a topic that you should be discussing with minors in any context. Also, I don't know, this might be nitpicking, but him asking her, like, are you gonna start an OnlyFans when you're 18? Like, I don't know. I don't know, man, rubs me the wrong way. Cause like, what if she said yes? Cause I'm thinking of like, what would have happened if she had said yes? Like, would have been like, ooh, can't wait, ugh.
Like, personally, guys under 5'9" are just like...
So you're basically saying short men are not human and don't deserve humans, and you want them all genocided. That's basically what you're saying.
No, that's not basically what she's saying. You didn't even let her finish, bro. She didn't even say all that about short men. Talk about insecure. Like, I'm 5'8.5". I'm less than 5'9". You know, I barely am just under 5'9" because I'm 5'8.5", but like, I'm not insecure like that. Jesus. He got so defensive about that so quick. That is insane.
I'm only 5'11". I'm barely... I barely meet the cutoff criteria for being a human in your eyes.
She didn't even say that. You put those words in her mouth, dog. She was like, oh, guys under like 5'9", they're, and then didn't even let her finish and was like, you think they should all be killed. You don't think they're like even worthy of being called human beings. You think they should all be genocided. Dude, chill the fuck out. Jesus. It is the swiftness, the haste, if you will, that he immediately was like, aha, you think they should be genocided. Like, that is your first thought, and she didn't even finish her sentence, dog. Shout out to my short kings, because, like, I guess I would be considered short, because, again, if we're using that 5'9" or higher thing as, like, a fucking, like, yeah, I'm under 5'9", so would that make me a short king? If so, I wear that title with pride. But, like, goddamn, I don't think she wants me genocided, dude. Like, I don't think that's what she was going for.
What if I told you I'm only interested in girls with double D breasts? Anything less than that is just not attractive.
Well, I mean, like, that's your preference, but do you understand how cup sizes work?
No. Big as a girl's head. I want them big as a girl's head.
I have what are considered, these are A cups, isn't that crazy?
Because you're so skinny?
Yep.
So it's like the ratio of the bust compared to, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're very skinny and that's kind of hot.
That is, oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. My brother in Christ. You cannot sit here and say that ignorance is an excuse. It is not. He is 35 years old and you're telling me that all of the context beforehand of her being 16 to begin with, like, this is not their first voice chat, right? You're telling me he said that with his full chest to a 16-year-old girl, like, oh, you're so skinny, it's hot. And he's gonna sit here and be like, I didn't know any better, guys. She was flirting with me and I just didn't stop it. Shut the fuck up. Ooh, I'm sorry, I didn't even mean to get heated like this. It's just like, I'm a grooming survivor myself. I will touch on that a little bit in the video later. And so things like this get me really heated because it's so convenient when groomers will it just pisses me off when groomers will say and do things that are explicitly inappropriate to minors and then try to feign ignorance when there is no possible way on God's green earth that you said and did those things and were completely just unaware to the fact that it was inappropriate. You are 35. You have been on this planet for 3.5 decades. Like a decade and a half longer than I have, and damn near 2 decades older than she has. I know I sound like a broken record, but ignorance is not an excuse. I want you to keep this in mind. I want you to keep in mind all of the fucked up shit he's saying right now in these audios when we go to the apology, because he's gonna try and say in his apology, you know what, we'll get to that when we get to that.
Sorry, am I a bad guy for saying that? Should I go die?
No.
Am I a bad guy?
And I can see where they got the idea from, but with context, it's not.
Yep, that's my life right there.
I don't want it to be something that you're going to get mad at me for asking.
Uh-oh. Okay, go ahead. Just go ahead.
There was like a girl forever ago, and she said that stuff between you and her happened when she was 14. Is that like true stuff? I'm
No.
curious.
Nope. There's a whole story behind why that accusation even exists, but it's like it takes a million years. I'd rather not talk about it if I could just explain it with text.
I understand. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just curious. I just wanted a yes or no answer. I don't care why she did it. I just wanted to know.
There was no girl, there was a guy who made a Tumblr page where he made up the fake identity of a 14-year-old girl. And he said, oh my god, like, I knew YandereDev when I was 14. He said this and this and this to me. Oh my god, it's like an internet troll posing as a 14-year-old girl. Like, I could go to Tumblr right now and make a blog and say, oh my god, when I was 14, PewDiePie raped me, and like, I'd probably get a bunch of clicks and views. Oh my god, Mr. Beast, he touched my pussy. Because it's like, you put the name of a huge creator into the title of your whatever, and you can just get attention. There wasn't even any proof or evidence on the blog. People just ran with it.
Wait, hold on. Did you ever answer that question? I asked you if you were a virgin.
Yeah, then my phone rang. Very conveniently, I had to go flee to answer the phone call. Here's a question for you. What makes you think it's possible that I'm a virgin?
You asked me that, and I gave an answer. What was it?
You're like, maybe you were shy in college, and you haven't had any time to meet people because of Yandere.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm a virgin, does that make me a pathetic loser?
Why would it make you a pathetic loser?
It's like, oh, this guy has no riz. He can't get any girl to sleep with him. Pathetic. Maidenless. No bitches?
See, the correct response to a minor inquiring about your virginity is, none of your business. Moving on.
Like, I'm half hoping you are, half hoping you're not. Because, like, if you're not, then, like, good for you, you had sex. But if you are, like,
You want to steal my first time?
Oh my god.
Well, I'm not very experienced with ladies.
I can tell.
I don't even know what to say outside of what I've already said. Like I said, ignorance is not an excuse. There's no way he could have said shit like that and not know exactly what he was doing.
Hello there.
How are you?
It's an average day for me.
You probably have like a whole tree of things
Yeah.
with all their little branches of ideas, all
Hmm.
that. Because you have been working on the game since I was 7?
I've been working on it I've been working on it since 2014.
Oh yeah, I was 7. Oh, I was 7.
You're
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to process that.
Yeah, keep that in mind. He was about 26 when he started working on the game. She was 7. 07, single digits. He was 26. She was in elementary school. He was old enough to not only drink, but rent a car without needing someone over the age of 25 to co-sign it. Hell, he was old enough to be her dad. If he had a kid at 19, then by 26, they'd be like 7 years old, right? And by the time he's 35, they'd be 16, right? Yeah, exactly. And if he was truly just an oblivious guy, I don't know how that would have not rung any alarm bells in his head. It didn't, because he's not oblivious and he's not ignorant. He knew exactly what the fuck he was doing.
So, I know that the official ages are 18, but like, is it high school?
No, it's a post-high school academy.
Post-high school academy? What the fuck is that? A college? A university? What the fuck is a post-high school academy? Ooh, okay, this next clip gets me so heated.
Huh. So how old is everyone?
Everyone's 18.
Is like 18 or like 18 plus?
Everyone in the, well, I mean, there's like adults, like the teachers are older than 18. The headmaster is like 60, but all the students are 18.
Oh, that's weird. I feel like high school age makes more sense.
It would make more sense, but then everyone would complain, oh my god, the characters are under 18, so I have to contrive a story that makes them over 18. Or 18.
Because everyone gets so mad about kids. Because, like, you can't sexualize minors. I mean, you can't disagree with that without sounding like a creep. There's nothing I can really say about that.
Mother Nature sexualizes minors.
Mother Nature does what now?
Puberty starts to give breasts and wide hips to children before they turn 18. It's not like, you know, a person does it to a child. The child's own body does it to themselves. It's not like an adult can go to a child and cast a magic spell that gives them breasts. Haha, I've sexualized you. I gave you breasts. And the child is like, no. No, the child just does it. The child's body does it automatically. A child gradually becomes an adult over time because of puberty.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Doing it.
Okay. So, what are you implying? He's essentially saying that it is not adults that sexualize people under the age of 18, but rather biology and Mother Nature herself. That through the natural process of puberty, a child's body sexualizes itself. Am I getting that right? No, that's essentially what he said. There are few words in the English language to describe the disgust I am feeling right now. Because with his metaphor of like, oh, an adult can't cast a magic spell on a minor to give them breasts and wide hips, haha, I've sexualized you, quote unquote. Are you saying that, therefore, it's impossible for an adult to sexualize a minor? Is that what you're saying? Or that because a child's body does it to themselves, that it's okay? What are you implying, sir? Answer the question. Like, I'm not crazy, right? Please, I'm not crazy. Like, this is disgusting. I really should not be getting this heated, but I am sitting in this sound booth and I am seething.
What, does it sound silly when I freeze it?
It sounded really silly.
But it's true, though.
I'm unable to do this weekly challenge in size. It is so hard.
What's the weekly challenge? Don't wait.
Oh my god.
Again, inappropriate jokes with a minor. I gotta make a tally board for these audios. Let's see. Excessively calling Jane cute. Discussing penis size. Discussing the potential of OnlyFans. Discussing breast sizes, specifically hers. I'm just gonna throw post-high school academy on there because that still baffles me. What the fuck is a post-high school academy? And, quote, Mother Nature sexualizes minors, unquote. Which is an insane, oh my god. Bonus tally for the tangent about short men. Talk about insecure. I don't know why he's, like, so heated about that and jumped to conclusions like that. Whew, okay, let's move on to the screenshots. Okay, I've had some sweet tea and a fruit roll-up. I have calmed down. Let's get back into it. Just to add some further context before we get started, there have been some Discord screenshots that have been going around the internet that show more alleged inappropriate interactions from Alex with underage fans. The authenticity of these screenshots is still debated. Here is Decepticami's video from TikTok explaining further.
We need to clear up some misinformation, and let me go ahead and go through it point by point. Point number 1 is that the situation between YandereDev and this victim who's named Jane is completely true. He has owned up to it, he admitted to it, he made an apology, this is true. However, some screenshots that have cropped up recently, like this, and these, are completely separate victims that are different from Jane and are likely talking to somebody who is impersonating YandereDev. This screenshot from Reddit that it appears to be from my Discord account was confirmed to be fake by the moderator for Osana, and he apologized to me for what had happened. We're on good terms. Jane made it very clear that she does not doubt that there are other victims, however, they would be from Snapchat and not Discord. So again, anything that you see from Snapchat is between YandereDev and Jane, that is 100% true. Anything that you see that is from Discord is potentially an impersonator. We haven't figured it out 100%, but my sources states that it's not YandereDev.
Jane asks to be kept anonymous, quote, that way he has to admit it's him in the recordings or he can't sue, unquote. Since there's so many screenshots, I'm going to be speedrunning through them and giving TLDRs. Feel free to pause if you wish to read them in full. Alex asks the victim, Jane, to lie and say that the voice in the recordings is a YandereDev AI voice changer, essentially confirming that it actually is him in the recordings. He discusses the literal technicalities of grooming, the legal definition, and how he could potentially get away with it. He also says, quote, 17 is 94.4% of 18, so therefore being attracted to a 17-year-old girl is 94.4% okay. I'm sorry? Bro's trying to math his way through grooming allegations. That is insane. Jane says that she has bought many new low-rise jeans and that she will send him videos of them. He says, quote, well, that would be super erotic, seeing you dress and undress, unquote, which is just fucking disgusting. He expresses concern over their arrangement, saying that he worries that one day, if they get on bad terms, that she would release screenshots of him and his behavior towards her. She replies that even if she wanted to do that, she'd be unable to collect screenshots without him being made aware of it, and without evidence, her claims would be no more substantiated than any of the other rumors against him. He then goes on to say that he's emotionally unavailable and that the only thing that he could get from their relationship is, quote, lewd pictures and videos to fap to, unquote. I'm gonna be sick. And that he keep it a secret. Jane states, quote, distribution of CP is illegal for both parts. I can't press charges without also being charged. And I do not want people in a court looking at my nudes. I'd KMS. And I have a single dad, so I'd be disowned, unquote. He then goes on to say while he's not going to explicitly ask for nudes, he wouldn't exactly refuse them either. She does end up sending him explicit material, to which he says that it's, quote, so hot, unquote. The following screenshots are from after Alex is made aware of Allie's video that was in production at the time. Jane opens saying, quote, you have been the most kind, intelligent, caring, considerate, non-judgmental man in my life, ever. Which is horrible considering you're a 35-year-old man, unquote. He states that if she is, quote, the catalyst of the destruction of my life and career, unquote, that he will not be interested in talking to her anymore. Thus, it would be counterproductive for the video to be released. I'm so fucking tired, dude. I am the sleepiest of guys. God gives her earliest bedtimes to her sleepiest of soldiers. Okay, where were we? Jane mentions how him bringing up Mai-chan's Daily Life, a manga about a 17-year-old immortal maid who is sexually abused and humiliated on a regular basis, rubbed her the wrong way. He claims he never meant to imply that he enjoyed it, rather that it was a weird memory that stuck out. He states that he said, oh my god. Please, gods, give me strength and energy. I'm in hell. I am in hell. This is hell. She states that he sounded really bubbly when he was talking about it, and he says that's only because the atmosphere and the mood of the conversation was, in fact, bubbly. She then goes on to say that she doesn't know how to feel about the situation anymore. She looked up to him for years, but that this relationship was not okay because he was 35 and she was 16. Oh my god. I'm going to kill myself. He replies, quote, I am so lonely and miserable and depressed and unhappy. Of course, the one time a girl is actually nice to me, I got attached. You were so fun and funny and charismatic, it made me want to keep talking. I am not an evil predator who goes around raping little girls. I am a lonely, vulnerable man who made the mistake of being flirty to a girl who was a bit too young, unquote. He begs her to not let this happen. She then says, quote, but it isn't okay. Could you take responsibility in that exact way you just phrased it? She states that people already know. They saw the TikTok and it was his profile with his voice, and that if he could just take accountability, then Allie's video wouldn't have to happen. She said she was panicking and he replied that he was too. She asks if they can voice chat, which he declines, saying he learned the consequences of voice chatting with her, going on to say how he never said anything villainous, quote unquote, just that, quote, this is fucked up and I don't deserve this, unquote. She comments how she feels like she's exposing a boyfriend, but that he's in fact 35, and that his questionable views on top of it all concerns her. Hear you one more goddamn time. Oh my god. I'm gonna eat this microphone. I'm gonna eat this microphone, and it's gonna kill me, and I'm gonna be at peace. God? Thank you. God bless. He tried manipulating her further, saying he hadn't done anything so heinous that he deserved to lose everything, saying this was the worst thing that has ever happened in his life. She said she was sorry, and he replied saying if she really was sorry, she'd save him. Quote, you're the only human on earth who can save me, unquote. She says she needs to think about it. He says, quote, please don't bring this much harm into someone's life to entertain some people on the internet, unquote. Completely trivializing the severity of what he's done. This is not internet beef. This is not low-hanging fruit for drama channels to cling on to. This is the grooming of an underage fan of yours. This information needed to be released not for entertainment, but for awareness, so that the people who support this man can know just who they're supporting. She says she feels awful and that she really doesn't want to ruin his life, but she feels like she has to because she's the only one with proof. Oh my god! Jane is quick to point out that there could be other victims, and that if so, he needs to be held accountable. He says he doesn't think he's traumatized anyone, and if anything, she's traumatizing him. She says she feels awful and that she really doesn't want to ruin his life, but she feels like she has to because she's the only one with proof. He begs her to reconsider, saying he isn't a villain, and she says she'll sit on it for a bit, adding that he is very persuasive. He then says, quote, a girl was flirty with me and I was vulnerable, so I flirted back. That is the extent of this situation. I am not an evil, traumatizing predator, unquote. She says, I think you're right, and says she'll talk to Bug about taking down the TikToks, but that she needed to contemplate about the video that Allie was planning. He says he would be eternally grateful to her if he did, saying that he knows there is good in her and that she can make the... Okay. He says he would be eternally grateful to her if he did, saying that he knows there is good in her and that she can make, quote, the right decision, unquote. When asked what he would do, he says he needs some time to, quote, calm down and recover from the worst experience of his life, unquote. If that is not textbook manipulation, I don't know what is. He's literally saying that by, quote unquote, saving him, she's making the right decision and being a good person by not exposing the terrible things that he's doing with his underage fans in private. Jane says that Bug is refusing to cooperate, and Alex says to tell him, quote, I know what the law says, but I don't want to risk it. It is my decision as the victim, and, quote, it's my recording, so it's my decision to make, not yours, unquote. He adds, quote, you can be forceful with him. Make it clear that your word is final and he does not have a say in the matter, unquote. This is straight up manipulation. He's literally manipulating her. He's literally manipulating her into retracting her statements and preventing them from ever seeing the light of day so he can get away with it scot-free. Even Jane says herself that it's, quote, textbook grooming, unquote. He responds saying that not only has this situation made him never want to talk to a minor again, but that what he was doing was anti-grooming. That he is trying to, quote, convince a minor to stop being entangled with my life, so this really is the farthest thing from grooming, unquote. Okay, the mental gymnastics that this man is performing is truly astounding. I'm surprised he hasn't been scouted for the Olympics yet. Jane and I have the same reaction, saying that he is manipulative and good at twisting situations. He says, quote, "Grooming is like, mwahaha, I will ensure that I fuck this girl when she turns 18, mwahaha," which, okay, kind of cartoon villain shit is that? She says, quote, "And you were just casually flirting with and engaging in sexual stuff with a minor, not planning to get me when I'm 18, unquote. He adds, quote, "Meanwhile, here's me being like, damn, I am lonely and this girl is the only person on earth who is nice to me, but I'm starting to get a little too comfortable with this, I don't know. A groomer would have tried so hard to spend time with you, play Phasmo, show on webcam, etc. Instead, I avoided those things. I was distant because I prefer to be very distant from any minors or grooming behavior and not engage in it even 1%, unquote. She says, yeah, very distant. To which he says, quote, "I really feel like this establishes that I am not an evil villain with dirty intentions. A real predator jumps at the chance to ensnare a minor, whereas I was distant as hell." Jane apologizes for panicking and stressing Alex out and says that she'll talk to Allie in the morning when she is awake. Alex says, quote, "As long as you take steps to reverse what is happening, everything will be okay in the end," unquote, and then thanks her for seeing reason before bidding her goodnight. I wanted to add a personal note in this video about my experience with grooming. I will try to keep it short and concise due to the fact that the situation happened for over a year, and if we went over every single detail, we'd be here for another hour. Trigger warning for rape, grooming, and drug and alcohol abuse. If any of these topics are triggering to you, here is the time skip, and you are welcome to skip over this part of the video. I will take no offense to it. Let's get into it. I was groomed at the age of 17. In October of 2021, I met a man at my job. He was 22 at the time. I was a senior in high school and he was a senior in college. I was new to the pagan religion, and I was happy to learn anything and everything. Turns out he was a shaman, and he began mentoring me as his student. Think of it as the relationship a youth pastor would have with a kid that they were counseling. At the time that I met him, he had a girlfriend who was at the age of 17 as well, and was a month younger than me. By the time I turned 18, they had no longer been dating, and we started dating. He was 23. He went from being my mentor to my friend to my boyfriend. At the time of meeting him in October of 2021, I was completely sober. Before meeting him, I had struggled with both nicotine and alcohol abuse, but with the help of family and medical intervention, I had become clean for 4 months at the time that I met him. Since he was of age, he was able to buy nicotine and alcohol products, and he became my sole and consistent source for them. Outside of his 17-year-old, now former girlfriend, I was always the youngest person in the room. I was always the only one under the age of 21. The closest person in age was 22 going on 23. The average age I'd say was 25, and I was freshly 18. I got hooked on nicotine again, and I take full responsibility for my part in not refusing the peer pressure, and I began drinking more consistently, sometimes multiple times throughout the week, showing up to school hungover, drinking large amounts of rum and vodka and margarita bottles all at the same time. He would guilt trip me about my boundaries. I'm a black man and he is a white man, and he would feel very comfortable saying the N-word around me despite my protests. And every time I would ask him not to, he would try to make me feel bad about it. He would be transphobic to me and other trans people despite knowing the fact that I was a trans man, and being rude to service workers as well. Towards the end of my senior year, he raped me when I was drunk and he was sober. I was so disoriented during the act that all I could focus on was not throwing up. My then friends at the time convinced me that it was consensual because earlier while I was sober, I inquired if he had condoms out of curiosity. Apparently that was enough to imply that I wanted sex. I mentally checked out of the relationship for the last 3 months, but I was too scared to leave. He owned firearms, he knew where I lived, and he knew my school schedule. He used to talk about how he desired a career as a hitman, going into detail about the fact that he graduated with a bachelor's in criminal justice and now worked as a private investigator. Therefore, he knew all the details and the specifics about hiding a body and getting away with murder. It scared me. I only broke up with him the week I moved out for college. I didn't tell him what college I was going to or where I had moved. I'd simply sent him a long text message saying that we were done and I couldn't do this anymore, and then I blocked him. I haven't heard from him since. Every time I return to my hometown, I'm still scared that he'll be driving past my street and do something to me. I went from being his student to being his lover. He would constantly manipulate situations, making me out to be a bad person for having simple boundaries such as slurs or him not touching me in a way that made me uncomfortable. I'm still dealing with the repercussions today. It was my first adult relationship, and I'm still learning to love and trust men the right way. Like Alex, he would also debate the technicalities of the age of consent, saying that because technically the age of consent where I live is actually 17, it's fine that he had a 17-year-old girlfriend that he slept with regularly. Listening to the audios of Alex and Jane, I felt a chill because it felt like I was listening to my old relationship all over again, and that really rubbed me the wrong way. The manipulation, the inappropriate comments, it all felt identical to my past relationship. If you are or have been, or you know someone who has or is currently in a situation like this, you're not alone. There are so many people out there, you don't even know how many people who know exactly what you're going through. My ex didn't have a platform, but Alex does, and that's what makes this so much worse. I'll leave some links in the description for resources for survivors of abuse. Jane, if you're watching this, I truly, truly wish you the best. From the bottom of my heart. You are not alone, and there are millions of people out there who have gone through what you're going through right now. Perhaps not on the same scale, but me and many other people know what it's like to be hurt in such an intimate way by someone that you thought you could trust. Once again, I'll leave resources in the description below for services and resources for people who are survivors of abuse. Let's move on to his apology. His apology is titled, "I am sorry," and it's really long, and I will be speed running through it like I did the screenshots, but again, you're welcome to pause at any point to read it in full. He starts off immediately by saying he won't make his usual excuses or ramble the way he usually has in previous apologies and explanations. And he immediately admits to talking to the minor in question. Quote, "A few months back, a fan of the game DM'd me and wanted to chat. I normally just turn fans away and tell them I'm busy, but in this case, the fan seemed really funny and interesting, so I agreed to talk. After around 2 months, I agreed to do a voice chat with her. Right off the bat, she lets me know that she was 16. At the time, I didn't even perceive this as a problem. Why do I care what her age is? She's just a funny fan of the game who wants to talk to me. This is no big deal. I rationalized to myself that it was fine. This was massive mistake number 1, more to follow. We talked for a while, and eventually I started to feel really comfortable speaking to her. I started talking to her the same way I would speak to any of my other friends, like she was one of the guys. I made the same type of vulgar jokes that I make when voice chatting with my other friends. This was absolutely an unacceptable mistake. No grown-up should ever use adult language or make adult jokes in the presence of a minor. Just because I felt really comfortable speaking to her, that doesn't make it okay. That's no excuse, not in the slightest." Quote, "Occasionally, she would say something flirty towards me. Most of the time, I would shut that down immediately and refuse to reciprocate. However, there were times when I didn't shut it down and let her talk to me that way without stopping her." Unquote. No. You didn't just let it happen. You actively engaged. No, do not try to be like, "Oh, well, I was too nervous to start it." You actively engaged. You flirted back, if anything. Again, ignorance is not an excuse. He confirmed himself that the audios and screenshots provided earlier in the video were in fact him. You cannot sit here and look me in my digital eyes and tell me that he was just such an oblivious fool that he didn't realize that calling a 16-year-old hot and talking about her breast size and penis size and all this shit, that he was just so fucking oblivious that... Let me calm down. He continues, quote, "At some point, she starts recording our conversation so that she could share my jokes with her friends. However, one of her friends interpreted my remarks as showing sexual interest in her. They convinced her that I was trying to, quote, groom her, and that she should release all of her recordings to, quote, expose me. All right, class, let's put our thinking caps on and brainstorm how the friend could have possibly came to this conclusion. Mayhaps it could have been the sexual jokes towards her. Mayhaps it could have been calling her skinny and hot. Mayhaps it might even be him joking about her stealing his virginity. First one to comment the right answer gets a cookie. He continues, quote, her friend pressured her into providing the recordings to a drama YouTuber who began producing a video about the situation. A preview of the video revealed that the intention of the video would be to characterize me as a predator/groomer by presenting clips of the conversation that sounded sexual. Okay, of course he's gonna play the it's out of context card. Motherfucker, what else does it sound like? My voice cracked. I need some water. Hydration complete, let's continue. He goes on to say that he was, quote, extremely damn foolish, unquote, for him to think that there would be a rational explanation for an adult being friends with a minor, regardless of the adult's intentions. Adding, quote, over the years, a lot of people have contacted me to tell me that they look up to me, that they admire me, that I inspired them. Right now, I'm thinking about all the people who ever said those words to me, and I realize that my actions have completely invalidated their words. No, someone who makes this kind of mind-numbingly stupid mistake is not admirable or inspiring. I let my fans down, I keep saying to myself over and over. Years of trying my best to prove that I'm not the bad guy that people say I am, and then I go and screw up so badly that I've retroactively vindicted some of the hate that's been directed at me. It's ironic. I've tried so hard to disprove the hateful remarks that people make about me by doing the opposite of what they expect of me. For example, if people say I'm lazy, I respond by working more hours than usual. If people say I'm greedy, I respond by turning down opportunities to make money. If people say I'm interested in minors, I respond by adding rules to my Discord server to actively discourage minors from participating. At every turn, I try my absolute best to disprove every ignorant and hateful false accusation that people make about me. And now look what I've gone and done. Instead of doing everything in my power to disprove the allegation that I'm attracted to kids, Jesus, I made some remarks that sound really fucking questionable. I'm not even going to say, quote, it only sounds bad because it's out of context. If only you had the context, you would understand it wasn't so bad, unquote. I'm just gonna own up to this one. The fact that it even happened at all is bad, regardless of the context. There is no excuse. It is an outright fuck up, pure and simple. Oh, you poor, aw, shucks. He's really gone and done it this time, guys. Aw, man. Okay, I will say that I do appreciate the fact that he's like, it doesn't matter what the context is, this is bad, because that's very refreshing from YandereDev, because if you've kept up with him over the years, it seems that his response to every controversy regarding him is, it's out of context, lol lamau, get fucked. But again, I do not fuck with the angle that he's going for, of this just being some kind of really big slip-up. This is not a slip-up. You said that Mother Nature sexualizes minors. You called her hot, among the millions of other things that I've repeated 1,000 times, and the evidence that I've provided thus far in the video. That was conscious, bro. That was not something that, like, oopsie daisy, I accidentally groomed a minor, whoopsies. That's not what this fucking was. This was active, this was conscious, and I fully believe that. He goes on to state that several volunteers have already contacted him, saying that they can no longer be associated with him or the game, including Michaela Laws, who voices the main character for Ayano Aishi, or Yandere-chan, and Austin Hively, who voices Senpai, along with other voice actors and volunteers, in light of these allegations. He then tags the link to the statement on Reddit that either he made to speak as the victim, or manipulated the victim, Jane, into making it. Either way, Jane has since retracted this, saying she was pressured by Alex to say that everything is fine, and he's actually not a bad guy, actually. He then shows that he donated $1,000 to RAINN, an organization that provides care and benefits to survivors of abuse, which, you know, good. That's good. That $1,000, instead of staying in his pocket, is now gonna help survivors of abuse. But this should not and does not excuse what he has done, of course. And I know there's gonna be someone in the comment section who's gonna be like, dude, he donated $1,000 to abuse victims. What more do you want from him? I'd say for him to be permanently deplatformed, ? Like, a person like this who can be so disgustingly reckless. Let's play devil's avocado for a second, you know? Let's just say for a second that this was just a pure, stupid mistake. He never had any intentions like this. It was just a pure oopsie daisy, you know? Someone like this, who can be so disgustingly reckless to his underage fan base, should not have the platform to make a mistake like this again. And again, I don't think this was a purely unintentional mistake. Looking at the evidence, it seems like he knew what the hell he was doing. A few days later, he made another blog post titled Moving Forward. His approach in this post is essentially saying that all of this only happened because he wasn't taking care of his mental and physical health, which turned him into a quote-unquote mistake machine, and therefore he will be taking some time offline and away from developing Yandere Simulator to focus on improving himself before making any big decisions on the game's development moving forward. But I don't know what the point of this quote is. Quote, recently somebody messaged me to tell me something. A few years ago, when his girlfriend was on the verge of suicide, she sent me a fan mail. I responded to thank her for her kind words. Apparently, this cheered her up so much that she stopped thinking about killing herself. She's still alive today. He just wanted to tell me, thank you for saving my girlfriend's life. Like, okay, glad that she's in a better place mentally. Good for her, you know. Good for you for getting her to that place, question mark. I don't know why you feel the need to bring this up. It just comes off very, hey, look how much of a good guy I am. I made this girl not want to off herself. Like, it just feels a little, this might be reaching, but like, this just feels a little not appropriate considering the circumstances. Like, yeah, I did groom this 16-year-old, but I have the potential for good. See this girl? Yeah, she used to want to kill herself, but not anymore. Thanks to this guy right here. Heh. And it's like, good for you, I guess. Like, I've known many people who've dealt with suicidal ideation, and I've tried my best to support them throughout the years to the best of my ability. But you don't see me bragging about it, question mark? Like, it just feels, I don't know. People like that always rub me the wrong way when they bring up serious things like suicide or drug addiction, and they're like, I saved a girl from killing herself. I helped this guy get clean. I'm such a great guy. And it just feels very, like, egocentric. Like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know how to put it into words in the English language, but it just, him bringing that up kind of rubs me the wrong way. He goes on to say, quote, I keep thinking about that story and other stories like it. Times when someone reached out to me to let me know that I cured their depression or saved their life. Those stories make me feel like I have the potential to affect the world in a positive way. But that's only if I stop making such dumb decisions all the time. And I can only stop making dumb decisions if I get healthy. And the only way to get healthy is to start making healthier life choices. He thanks all the creators who helped him get Yandere Simulator to where it is today, even if they no longer support him. He said despite the onslaught of harsh messages he's received since his apology, he also received a lot of messages from fans who say that they want to see his mental health improve and for him to finish the game, and that he is focusing on those people who have supported him all this time, even now. He doesn't want to disappoint those people, but he states that the best thing is for him to take a break to improve himself and his work-life balance before he can think about finishing the development of the game. Like, I mean, good for him, but I don't like the implication that he groomed a minor just because his mental health was bad. Like, I've had, if only you knew, I've been in some pretty dark places myself. I've done some bad things. I am not a perfect person. I do not have a fully clean past. Sure, I've made some mistakes. This is not a mistake. This is not a mistake that you can make. This is not an oopsie daisy for the billionth time. And remember, kids, mental illness and mental health can be an explanation, but not an excuse. And intent does not negate impact. But if I'm being completely transparent, I couldn't care less if he finished the game at this point. I'm just glad that he finally got exposed for what he is, a groomer and a fucking creep. Now he won't have the platform he did before to abuse young fans like Jane. And Jane is so incredibly brave for taking a stand and exposing just how much of a monster this man is, despite all of his manipulations. And I pray that he never has the opportunity to abuse someone again. Jane, if you're watching this, my heart goes out to you. As a survivor of grooming myself, I know how hard it is to heal from an average grooming situation, and I can only imagine how traumatizing it is to have it blasted all over the internet. Please, please take some time offline to connect with friends and family who can support you during this time. And once more, I will be leaving links below in the description to organizations and helplines. If you or someone you know is struggling with grooming or sexual abuse, please do not hesitate to seek the resources in the description below. Oh man, ooh, that was, yeah, Jeepers Scoob. Hopefully the next few videos will be a bit more lighthearted. I don't want all of our videos to revolve around such dark topics, but we're still figuring out the direction we want to take this channel in. If you have any suggestions, sound off in the comments. We'll hear it. You know, we're still trying to figure out. We want to do commentary, obviously, but like, you know, just if you have any ideas or any interesting topics you'd like us to talk about, shoot us a comment. You know. Thank you for getting through this marathon of a video. I'm in the sound booth right now. It's freezing, and I don't know how long this video is going to be. It might be 20 or 30 minutes, God knows. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us here at MeloDrama's Revenge. I am Ronnie, and it was a pleasure to have you with us today. Stay safe, and subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed. Have a great day. Bye-bye.